All right, so this podcast is a special one. I started the show over a year ago because of the struggles that I had faced as a filmmaker. I wanted to talk with other creatives about the challenges that they faced and how they overcame them, and hopefully provide advice for those who were just getting started out. So 5 months ago, I got a message from Sterling Grinnell. He was a kid that was just getting started out. He was a filmmaker that wanted to come on the podcast, and he sent a video explaining why he thought he'd be a good fit. Now, I had to turn him down. While I admired his work ethic and his vulnerability for putting himself out there, I just thought he didn't have enough experience yet to be on the show. But that did not stop him. Over the next 5 months, he persisted to work on his craft. And one morning I woke up, made some coffee, opened up my phone to check Instagram, and I saw that I was tagged over a dozen times, people telling me to go check out this kid Sterling Grinnell's video. So I checked out the video, and it was a parody of my videos. Honestly, when I first saw it, the first few frames, I was like, this is one of my videos. Somebody stole one of my videos. But it came to be an absolutely savage parody of the many themes that I use throughout my own videos. I was so impressed, not only with that parody, but also how much he had improved over those 5 months since we had last spoken. And he also had used a hashtag, Get Sterling on Matt's podcast, that I decided this kid deserves it. So I reached out to him and invited him onto the podcast. This is that podcast. I'm very excited to introduce you guys to the funny, the talented, the persistent Sterling Grinnell. All right, you want to just do the podcast? You want to just get started?
Why not?
And then we'll just start talking?
Sounds good. I feel so weird.
How do you feel?
It's like really weird.
Really weird?
Yeah, it's just like the table is, I don't know. Everything feels weird. Like is this marble?
It's marble. Hell yeah, it's marble.
Real marble.
I upgraded at one point when I knew I made it when I upgraded from the IKEA to the marble
When
table.
you use real marble?
Yeah.
I used to work in a granite shop with marble. Horrible.
Well, why was it horrible?
Because it's scary. You have like giant slabs of marble like the size of this, and then you have to use forklifts, and then we dropped one on my friend's toe. Like they're like thousands of pounds, and that was like the most traumatic experience of my life. My friend Jared, he actually does a lot of the photo work with me, great photographer. But we dropped it on his foot, and I was like running around the warehouse trying to find. You can't lift him. It was. I don't even like talking about it. It was horrible.
It like broke his foot?
It would have been really bad, but there was the way that the granite was, it's usually flat, but it was the jagged edge. And there happened to be a bump in it right where his foot was. We just got really lucky. He should have lost his toe, his foot, something like that.
Yeah. I did not realize that this podcast was going to start out with talking about marble tables.
Yeah, well, hey, you can't.
Well, at least now people know how I roll.
Yeah.
You know?
They know you have a real marble table
Yeah,
and
we
an
don't mess
apostrophe
around
in your name.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that true minimalism? I don't know.
Probably not.
No, probably not. All right, Sterling. We should probably at least explain how we got here and how this whole thing came down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it's funny because I originally got an email from you back in April.
I wondered if you remembered that.
Early April. Well, you reminded me, but I did when you reached out to me recently again, I was like, this guy looks really familiar.
Oh, man.
This stuff looks really familiar. So you reached out to me, and I was requesting videos and audio clips for like questions for the podcast.
Right.
And this was early on. Like not many people were following. Like I think the podcast was starting to grow a little bit, but it was still relatively small. And then you reached out and you sent like a video, very personal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to show it. I'm gonna have to put it somewhere.
Well, see, the thing that sucks is I made it. I shot it in 4K because I was like, I had my little Sony A6300. I was like, I'll shoot it in 4K because like I have to like impress this dude. And then like I couldn't email it because the file was so big, so I compress into like I'm probably 4 pixels, like just me. It was so bad. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I remember you actually did give a disclaimer. You're like, by the way, I just want to let you know, I know the quality of this sucks. And I watched it, I'm like, dude, this is like really good. This is like way better quality than anybody who sent me a video before.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Like, people are like filming from their bathroom.
Yeah.
So yeah, you basically, you pitched to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I said, I think I was very nice. I was
you were very, very kind.
Yeah.
Because
what did I say?
Yeah, you said like, hey, I'm looking for people with like a little more experience, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, logical. And then I had referred you to like, oh, here's my work in case you want to end up looking at it. And you had like complimented me on this video that I had made a couple months previous, and like I like analyze stuff a lot, so I don't know, I knew that the film wasn't a great film, but I had nothing else like to show anyone, you know. And so you were super nice about it. You're like, oh, show's great pacing, I think you said, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, he's being really nice. Even I know like this isn't a great film, but I was glad that you weren't just like blew me off. It made my day actually. Like it was really cool.
Wow, that's really neat. I think we as filmmakers give ourselves the hardest time, and like we see the faults in what we're doing. But also whenever I'm looking at another filmmaker's work, I'm not judging it based upon my experience level and like how long I've been doing it for. Right. Like imagine if like you wanted to get advice from Spielberg.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is garbage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
why I'm talking to Spielberg.
Crush you. But you'd be like, he'd look at it from your perspective, like how long you've been doing it, how long you've been a filmmaker. But objectively, the video was very good.
I'm glad.
And since then, all the videos I've seen of your work have just improved.
Yeah, hopefully it continues to
That's the way it goes, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
So I shut you down. Down.
Yeah, not very mean. It wasn't mean, but I was like, yeah, all right,
I said,
cool.
fuck off, kid.
Yeah, get out of here. No, yeah. And so then from there, I was actually in my apartment, or my brother's apartment. They're the ones that set it up and made it look like it's Pinterest in there. It's like insane. And I was like messing with audio because like what I do is like I try to learn one thing at a time. So I'm like, I knew nothing about audio. So I was like, oh, I'll try to mess around with voiceover stuff and throw some like effects on there, mess with treble compression, that kind of thing. And I was messing around like saying random stuff, and I was like, dude, I sound like Matt D'Avella or something. And then I was like, why don't I like make this like spoof? I wasn't even planning on posting. I thought it was just gonna be quick. And then with some projects, you get into it, and then you start to like really get into it, and you're like adjusting things like very minor and making sure the overhead shots are good. And I was like, dang, I'm going all out on this. And then I made it, and then I was like, he has that hashtag for like Get the Rock on Matt's podcast. I was like, I'm gonna flip this, like flip it back and be like, he has to have me on here. Like it has to work, because otherwise like, yeah, I don't know. And so I did that, and then I thought when you commented on my post, you were like, I don't even remember, like emojis or something. I was like, okay, that's the peak. Like he commented, I did it, game over. And then from there, just like kept going. And then you had put stuff on your story, and a bunch of people jumped over to me and like started messaging me. And I was like it was
it's so funny. It's funny because now even when I see your photos come up in my Instagram thread, I'll see like liked by all my family and friends. Like literally like I think all 4 of my sisters follow you.
Yeah,
now on
I
Instagram.
saw that. And like I was messaging one of your sisters, and I didn't know it was your sister. And the name, I noticed the D'Avella at the end, and I was like, I messaged him. I was like, what? But it wasn't. It was like Mad D'Avella.
Madison, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought Mad was like, I thought she was spoofing your name because it sounds like Mad.
Like, yo, that's a parody, Mad D'Avella.
I thought it was like someone a huge fan or something.
I'm not
that
like, big yet.
So I tried to like nicely call them out. I was like, why is your last name like D'Avella? And she's like, oh, I'm his sister. And I was like, oh, like this did not work. That is not what I expected.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, so they had all your sisters like, and they do awesome artwork, some of them, and like all that kind of stuff. That's super creative. You got an artist family.
Yeah, it really is an artist family. But I remember, all right, this was my experience of seeing that video. The first thing I actually did see was, and I gotta say, like, because I don't check Instagram that much. Like, I usually just do it once a day. I'm trying to be very mindful about how I use it. But then every once in a while, I'll like scrub through like DMs and just go through it. And then like, I think I saw a DM from you. Like, so I clicked on it for whatever reason. Like, I know a lot of people were adding me. Yeah. But then I clicked on it, and then I start watching the video, and I'm like, did this kid repost one of my videos?
Yes.
I swear to God, when I first saw it, I was like, this is my video. This is insane. One of my videos. Because the color grade. Yeah. I was like, that sounds like my voice.
Yeah. What the heck? That's crazy.
No, it was super weird. And I was like, this is crazy. I was cracking up, dying. That's wild. And that was because it was an Instagram. It was a shorter video that you posted. So then I hopped over to YouTube and watched the full thing. I also love like the humor in it. I think you captured like what I try to do with videos. Right. But you did it in a way that was just roasting and destroying me.
I hope it wasn't like, I was like, maybe he's just going to like destroy me back and be like, this kid sucks for doing this kind of thing and like attacking my like style. No. So I was like, this could go like very many ways. I had no idea.
No, it was amazing. You definitely ripped me pretty good.
I'll take it.
There was a lot of definitely memorable moments from the video, like just like the raspiness of my voice, like I'm trying to be quiet so I don't wake my parents up. Yeah, like I mean, this is like you took a lot of time to actually write out that script, and like that's like the hardest part about making videos is like taking the time to step back and think about the direction that you want it to go, and like how you can add jokes and how can you be funny but not too funny,
right?
Like,
trying too hard.
Yeah. So you did a really good job,
dude. I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah. So you made the video. And then we just messaged back. This was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, which is weird. You messaged me and were like, hey, like, you can come out on the podcast. Like, are you available anytime in the next few weeks? And I was like, I'm going to be. Like, if this is an invite, then yes, I'll fly out.
I was like, what day are you available? Because I kind of like left it vague.
Right.
And then you were like, I can come whenever you want.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Don't tell.
Yeah. You're like, whenever, Matt. I will do anything.
No, I was
to come
like,
on
I'm
the
available
podcast.
one day, 1 hour if you want it.
You played it really cool. Yeah. Then you started playing hard to get.
Yeah.
Well, it's a push-pull tactic.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's just so cool because like I think it just came down to, I did have somebody ask me this recently, is like why would you have somebody on the podcast?
Right.
And it's like, I think it first starts with just like respect and like respecting other people's work.
Yeah.
And like I did respect your work very early on. It was very good, and it's just gotten better in the past few months, and just even, I mean, maybe it's just that you put out stuff that you've been working on for the past whatever, but it super impressed. And as a filmmaker and a photographer, like you definitely got the chops.
Dude, I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll see where it all goes.
All right. Well, we talked enough about how we got here because now we're here.
Now we're here, and I made you the coffee, so it's game on.
Actually, I didn't mention that too. Yeah. So you did make me a cup of coffee.
That was the plan.
A barista for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm still a barista.
Still a barista.
Yep.
How long have you been barista-ing?
I have been barista-ing for, I don't even know. Like, let's see. I did it for 3 years at one, like, section, and then I took a break for, like, a year and a half, and then now I'm doing it again. So I guess, like, off and on, like, a total of, like, 6 years, but compact, like, probably 3.5, 4.
Yeah. So, like, you came in here, you had a real coffee process.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
So I do, like, between 180 degrees to 200 degrees. Like, that's my range. You're like, I'm between 191 and 193.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. Like,
yeah, we'll see.
Specific.
My brothers and I, that's kind of how we are in the house. Like, you've probably seen the video. There's a lot of that stuff around, like a bunch of different contraptions and weirds. And we just, like, wake up, we'll choose V60, or, you know, we'll choose Chemex or AeroPress. And we just kind of experiment with everything. And each of us has our own process and how we make it. So the one that I used was the Hario V60, kind of like a pour over. What is a pour over?
Yeah.
And that's just how, like, I make my coffee in the morning, like, and to sit down and have a little extra. It's very, like, down to, like, the amount of grams I'm using, the ratio of water to coffee, that kind of thing. So it's like 30 grams of coffee, and then that's ground on a certain setting, and we all have our own settings, and that's just how we are around the house.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that, like, I mean, this is all preference and taste, and it's very hard to say that there's a right and wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Now that's within, like, I think a certain threshold, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're using boiling water, we can say you're probably going to screw up the coffee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or if you're using just cold water, you're like, that's not going to brew.
Yeah, iced coffee, just pour cold water on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting because, like, all that stuff there's such a stigma behind it, which I hate. So I don't even like to bring up to people that, like, I measure out 30 grams of coffee, grind it, bloom for 30 seconds on 60 grams of water. Like, I don't tell people that because that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, so that's like,
when would that ever come up though? Too?
Well, because, like, they come in the house and they see, like, oh, you want some coffee? And then, like, pull out these, like, 2 glass things in a scale, and they're like, what is going on, you know? But, like, other people, like, the culture down where I live is very, like, oh, what are the notes on that? I'm like, just drink your coffee. Like, if it's good, it's good. If it's, you know, and there's a place for that, but it gets kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah, I still want to be able to have a Keurig when I go home to see my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get to the point where I can't not have that cup with them.
Yeah,
it's
just you drink it different. Like, when I go, like, places like that or have a Keurig, I just hide it with cream and sugar, and I still like it.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like, this is bad. Yeah. But, like, I don't drink it black.
Yeah, you can't drink it
black.
But
it's just
really gross.
Yeah, it's
it
kind
is
of
bad. But, yeah, you can definitely, like, lighten it up. That's why I think most people can never transition. It's an interesting thing to think about, like, having been drinking black coffee for years. But, like, I know a lot of people have trouble going to that because they always mask it with cream and sugar, and they're not actually...
Yeah, you grow up
because
like that.
They're usually just drinking shitty coffee.
Yeah, that's the thing. They try to, like, drink their Keurig black, and they're like, how do people do this?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they make good coffee. It's not, like, darkly roasted like Starbucks does and made to sit on the shelf for 2 years before you buy it. Like, it's totally different. So when you show people that, they're like, oh, this doesn't taste like, you know, something you found on the ground outside. Yeah. So it's, like, crazy, the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, so you're a barista now, and you're also filmmaker, photographer. Tell me a little bit about how that's going, how it's been going, and kind of what are your hopes with that creative path?
Yeah, it started off, like, kind of crazy. Like, it started off in college. Me and this kid were kind of competitive. Kid in another state, and my friends had challenged me to, like, he makes a video, and you make a video from the same footage. and we'll see what happens. And it was like a joking, competitive like thing that we had, but that we went through with it, and then I like made this video, and basically what I did, just use a bunch of slow-mo, you know, like because people aren't used to that. And so I had
slow-mo, just blew them away with that
slow-mo.
Yeah,
exactly, the 120. They have no idea what's going on. And I just like, dang, I love doing this. And then I started getting into it, but I didn't have a camera, so I borrowed my friend Jared's. And I used his like D3300 Nikon like consumer level like camera, but I was like having fun. And then that summer I got a Sony A6300, and that's when I started like really messing around, because like that one has a lot of capabilities. Like you can shoot 4K if you want, you can shoot 1080 120, and you can take solid photos. So I was messing around with that, and then from there I just started like consuming content, and like that I think is like the biggest thing about learning, like consuming other people's content, and like especially starting off, you don't know what composition means and like all those things and what elements you have to pull in to bring a shot together. So you have to look at other people's work and be like, that looks cool, I'm gonna try that, and then you try it and you take this element from this one and this element from this guy, and eventually it merges into your own like style. So for me it was like such a learning process. It's still a massive learning process. But yeah, now I'm like learning to survive with that. You know what I mean? Like make money and pay my rent with that, which is hard, getting off the ground, especially with like videography and that kind of thing, cinematography, because I don't know, people are it's one of those things that your friends will come up to you and be like, hey, can you make me a video really quick? Like, and you're like you have no idea what goes into like a video. It's not just like bloop, bloop, done, like a photo, you can take it, but stuff like that, making money with that. It's not just a technical skills thing, it's a business knowledge and getting behind all of that. So right now it's pretty much how everyone starts out, shooting weddings and quinceañeras and like all that kind of stuff, just to like survive. And then every once in a while you get a project that you're like super into, and then hopefully the idea is to like continue moving that direction and doing projects, being able to vet my clients and do projects only that I want to be doing. So for me right now, I love traveling. I haven't traveled a lot outside the United States anyways. And so that's something that I really want to do. So I realized with this trip that I was like, I can literally just like get up and go. Like, I can just fly wherever. I don't have like ties anywhere. So I just like flew down here, and now I'm staying here for a couple of days, going to explore around in Malibu and stuff. And it's like getting jobs though, that's where I want to take like the business right now, because I'm young and I just want to travel like any 20-year-old does. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is just trying to get as much work traveling as I can. And sometimes that means working with a brand and not getting compensated monetarily anyways. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to like move to destination weddings. So I've been trying to like look for those clients, which is even harder because they're not around you. You can't like meet with them. So your work has to like spread out there. So I've been working on getting published and that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's the goal right now, is to just honestly travel. I just want to go places and like see places that I haven't seen before. That's
great. It sounds like you really know where you want to head, which is, I think for most people, the hardest thing, is because they don't take a step back and be like, well, what kind of work do I want to do? But also the fact that the work that you have to do now, like that you have to do that short-term work where, and honestly, I don't know about you, but when I did weddings early on, like I enjoyed the process.
Yeah, it's
and
still,
like you get to like meet with the bride and groom, and they're usually pretty cool people. Like I never had any like bridezillas or anything like that. Same. I've like been able to work with amazing people, and especially as like a filmmaker, they understand and expect that you're just kind of there, like a little fly on the wall. For certain shoots you may come in and ask them to do something, or to maybe like, hey, can you just stare out this window for a little bit while I get this shot? But otherwise you're just kind of you're there capturing an event. You're learning about how to deal with problems as they arise. And like what a great learning and what a great playground to be able to experiment and to learn and to like learn that craft of filmmaking and storytelling. Even
that's
from like
what's hard for me.
I think like we should talk about that. But like even the trailers that you might create from a wedding film, you can get very creative in telling a story in 2 to 3 minutes, but then obviously the long form. So what's your biggest problem with like the storytelling aspect?
I think it's the foresight. It's the foresight and the being able to execute that foresight that was bound to happen, like I had originally planned. So that's hard for me, because sometimes I'll be like, this is what I'm going to do, and then I'll say this words, and then this shot will happen, and then I like go to film it, like, and it's not at all like I had thought, and then you have to totally restructure everything. So that's hard for me, and that's the one thing that like I want to shoot a documentary sometime, but it scares the crap out of me because it's such a process and long term, and then I know that it's going to happen. Like you have the story plan, and you have to be able to whatever, build with whatever you have.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's scary for me. And storytelling is just hard in general, because like you can learn the B-roll, like whatever transitions kind of thing that everyone's doing now with plugins. But the storytelling part and bringing those together is what's super hard. And that's something I'm finally understanding, like in the last like 3 or 4 weeks, is understanding the storytelling process behind it. So that's been like such a process.
What connected? Like what kind of clicked in terms of the storytelling over the past couple of weeks that maybe wasn't clicking before?
I think and this is going to sound weird, but it was that video that I made of you, like of your style of filming, because that was the first time that for some reason I realized I can talk about what's going on without like, hey, I'm doing that. I hate doing that. I hate it too. It's horrible. So that was when it finally clicked that I can tell the story from behind the lens with good audio and build it that way, as opposed to having to like, oh, I forgot to tell people when we're getting out of the car that we're getting out of the car, because now it doesn't make sense that we're like in the car and now surfing or whatever. So that was a disconnect for me, and now those things are connecting. And now being able to say, you know, like I'm coming to LA now, like what story do I want to tell coming to LA? Like, is it the whole trip? You can pick out little stories throughout the whole way, or have a big one and little tiny stories throughout it. I think that was the thing that's finally connecting with me. Like, it's more than just a visually pleasing video, which is, if you think about photography, yes, you can tell a story, but there's only so much you can tell with one photo, as opposed to a video where you have people, there's movement, you can show direction, like that kind of stuff, which could be argued that that's in photography, which it is. Yeah. But it's crazy. Like trying to build those together in the video form was hard for me.
Yeah,
it still is.
I think that what you said is important, and it's just like finding your approach to storytelling that suits your personality, that makes the process enjoyable for you, because there's definitely a way to do it that's a grind, and like it doesn't, you know, it just feels exhausting to do. And if it is feeling that way, like sometimes that's just part of it. Like you're going to be tired. There's going to, if you're shooting a wedding, it's going to take a long time, and you maybe at the end of it be like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this again. Yeah. But then like you feel good about it when you're looking at the footage and cutting it. But then that was one of the things that I really liked about Mango Street, is because they kind of had a similar approach to me as well, where it's a lot of their footage, like they don't do the vlogging stuff, and they're quiet, reserved people, and it's like they can make beautiful films, and they can be really simple with their approach about how they tell a story. They can be really thoughtful about the way that they're getting their ideas across. And for me, it's like, it's nice, and I think people need to see that, because the biggest people are like the Casey Neistats and maybe the Peter McKinnons, where
so interesting.
They have a certain style, and they are amazing, like incredibly talented. But you know, there's other templates out there for us to explore.
And I think so many people don't even realize that. Like you think like, am I going to film like Casey Neistat or Peter McKinnon? Like such different film styles. Like Peter McKinnon, beautiful film style. Like Casey Neistat, expert storyteller, and both successful in their different ways. So for me, and my personal like style that I'm still building is to mesh those in like a different way. And it's still a process to learn, but it's crazy because there is so many different like avenues to like pull you how you are and how you film and your personality across the screen. And that whole thing is a learning process. But some people get stuck in a rut being someone else. And that's like something that for me, like I'm kind of scared to do, but it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see.
You don't want to feel like you're just copying somebody else's style.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's interesting, Greg, because you said in the beginning, obviously, we're always copying other people's styles. That's how we have, it's a blank canvas, and like very few people can just pick up a camera and create something completely original. And especially because everything's been done at this point. So it is nice to have that inspiration early on. We all have it. And then it's like, how do we adapt the inspiration to, and I think part of it is like being ourselves, right? And like whether it's like, I can tell just from your videos and the stuff that you do, like you have a great sense of humor. You can like put that like humor into both your website and the stuff that you're doing, like on the top of your website. You're like, this is where a tagline would go if I thought of one. And it's like, I think it's like the subtleties like that really that are important. That a lot of people take that safe route and they're like, well, I'm just gonna tell the story in this way. Because what if somebody doesn't get the joke, or what if they don't think it's funny, or what if they tell me that I'm a loser for even like trying weird stuff, and then you don't. But I think we got to lean into the weird stuff. I think so too. And I think it's interesting to like, since I haven't been doing this long, you can see my progression. Like it's very obvious of like, this sucks or this part sucks, and how I'm learning from it. And even just like the last video I made, again, the one of you, like with the voiceovers, now I'm incorporating it. And the next one I did, it's involved in there, and it's not a total voiceover like clip, but it's involved. And now like, so that's a piece from you I've taken,
And I put that into my own arsenal. And pieces from Peter McKinnon that I've taken, and Casey Neistat that I've taken, or Sam Colder, people like that. And it's weird because it's not a conscious, like, I want this piece of, you don't like see all these people and like pull in the pieces from them that you like. It's just like, I don't know. That's how personality has to come through because I like it. So then it comes out. It's just super weird. And to see like a literal change, like right in front of you. It's amazing. It's wild.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is going to be like identifying what you want to talk about, you know, like the substance and the content behind it. And I think the filmmaking stuff is awesome, but it's like, yeah, what angle maybe could you take within there? And maybe it's just about bringing your personality and continuing to bring your personality into it.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself with the YouTube channel that you're making? Like, is that something that you want to focus on, like creating YouTube videos and building up an audience? Or do you see yourself more focusing on your freelance career and where that can potentially go?
If I could choose, I would love to do YouTube full time just because of the freedom that is involved with it. Like, I can build it to be whatever I want and to be able to pick my clients. That kind of thing is something that I really want. And I think that's what kind of drives like us freelancers anyways, is the like 9 to 5 thing like scares the crap out of me. Like I would never be able to survive. And even just like working for a company as a photographer, cinematographer, I worked on one set as a production photographer and it was weird for me, like not making the creative decisions, like sitting back and just being like behind the scenes photos. Like it was weird. I didn't like it. And there's a place for that for sure. But if I could continue to do YouTube and that kind of thing, then yeah, I'd love to do that. It's been really fun so far and just learning that whole process. And it's a crazy learning process. And it's weird to recognize that I'm in that process right now and know like I'll make something and like I can see what I want it to be, but I can't make it yet. And it's super weird, like super weird thing to, there's videographers and people like that on YouTube that they launch a new video and I'm like, I won't watch it for a week because I'm like avoiding the video because I know when I watch it, I'm just going to like why can't I do that? It's super weird.
That's a hard thing to overcome is, and what was that?
Has someone lost their bacon? I don't know. Something weird.
I lost my bacon.
I would yell too.
So I think the hardest thing about it is like being able to be okay that other people are
different or better.
What is that? Hold on a second.
That's okay. I was pretending this was my house for a second.
You're going to be my muscle. You're going to go out there and kick their ass.
Dang it. I need a tighter shirt.
Okay. Yeah. So the hardest thing to do is being able to be okay that other people are incredibly talented and that can do things that you can't do. Yeah. Like even before you came up here, I watched a little Peter McKinnon video he just posted about, I think he had a food poisoning or something. And he's just incorporating these amazing motion graphics into his videos. And like, you know, I feel you. Just like, and you're just like, yeah,
that's exactly how it is.
It doesn't go away, but that's just a little part. And I think that it's about like inspiration and like what inspires you. And there are certainly people that you look at that have large audiences and their quality is pretty crap. And you're like, oh, like that really inspires me because I know that I can make something better than that.
There's different.
And then you see the people that are really good and you're like, you have to make that feel like inspiration. Like I am inspired to be able to get to that level. Like I'm not there yet. And maybe I'll never make something quite like that because that doesn't match my style. Yeah. But to be inspired that like, oh, they're doing something really creative. Maybe I can like inject some of that into mine.
And that's, I think, another thing that makes it hard about the visual field is because part of the job is to make it look like there was no bad parts, or for like people that are traveling or the films that I make, like that's not how it really is, you know? Like no one flips their hair and you see it in slow motion. Like that's not life. But you see these people and their job is to make it look like it's incredible. And so then you as a visual artist, like that's how it's supposed to be. And then you run out there and be like, I don't have my car keys, or like basic stuff like that. And it's like, man, this is hard to like, to see that. And there's, like you said, there's two types of inspiration. The one that you're like, I can do that. And the one that's like, I'm going to get defeated. I can't do that. So I'm going to like push for it. It's really weird. It's super weird.
I had that same thought today about the fact that this is not our lives. Like, I mean, in a podcast like this, it is. Like, this is like, you know, mostly unedited. It's just a conversation. But then when you see the short form videos, especially the travel stuff, it's like, come on, dude.
Exactly.
But then I think part of it is cool, but then part of it also makes us feel a little bit like, oh, I'm not doing anything with my life. And like, but that person, that video that you watch, that 3-minute amazing trailer of them traveling around Iceland is not how they felt It's because travel is very slow. It's often very boring.
A lot of
it's
driving,
very quiet,
and hungry. Yeah,
a lot of waiting, and then a lot of that's a cool thing we saw. Okay, let's go get some food, and it's like it's life, but just on the road. It's just a little bit different than what we would be like at home.
Yeah, and that's also one of the hard things about like filming that stuff is because there's a balance between like enjoying that time traveling, because you know what it's like when you're like traveling, like videoing or shooting photos or something. It's work, and you're like running around these like crazy views and like shooting photos, and then you like leave, and then you forget that you didn't even like sit down and like look at the view. And that's like, I think it'll be interesting. I'm filming something while I'm out here in a few days, just a short travel fun thing. But I was thinking about it this morning when we were at Point Doom. Like, it's an incredible location, and I'm like, people don't know that I'm like running back and forth, like pulling out my drone, like all this kind of stuff. And in the video, it just looks like I'm like standing on a ledge, like this is beautiful, and there's birds. But in reality, that was like 10 seconds of it.
Yeah.
But I've slowed down to be even longer. Like, it's insane.
I gotta say, like, Natalie has no patience. And I just like, I wish she had a little bit more, because when we're going out filming, or if I'm like, if we're just traveling, and I'm like, I don't do it every day, but I'm like, all right, today it's going to be a film day. I'm going to shoot a bunch of footage.
Yeah.
We're going to some cool locations. I'm going to shoot some photos. Can you help take some photos of me?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then she like just doesn't have the patience, because it takes a lot of time to set up. It's like, all right, hold on, let me just get one more shot.
Yeah.
And I say that at least 24 times.
That's my problem.
Every time. It's like, all right, just one more.
Yeah.
All right, just one more.
Yeah.
All right, and then it just keeps going. And like, Matt, you're lying. Just tell us. It's going to be 12 more.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's part of it. It takes a lot of patience.
Yeah.
But I think that could be cool. I think that could be like a potential avenue to explore, is the downtime, the time, like the way that life really is. And I think sometimes injecting some of these moments where it's candid, and this is what I try to do even in documentaries. Like early on when I was shooting docs, it was like I wanted everything to be clean cut and everything to be like beautiful and perfect and like not seeing any flaws.
Yeah.
And then what I started to do was even hit record on an interview before the person even sat down.
Yeah.
And then you get them sitting down, you get them like adjusting their shirt. Like, am I looking here or there?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
all that
sometimes
stuff
those moments
really brings it in.
Yeah, like you put that moment, and like you see them in documentaries, but for some reason it doesn't.
You don't think about that.
You don't think about doing it when you're filming. It's weird.
Especially because like you don't like hit record and then be like, okay, ask me. Like, you don't do that. It's catching those candid moments, and it sucks sometimes because sometimes that means leaving your camera on for like a really long time, and then you have to scrub through this like 20-minute clip to catch this one like shirt adjustment or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you don't want that process, but it's bringing those candid moments in, I think, will really like make things real. And that's what like I try to do with like some of my work, is not make it too like, you know, really well lit studio professional, like, hello, I'm in a suit and whatever, you know, bringing that like sense of like humanity, whatever.
Humanism, I like that.
I hope that's a word. Someone's gonna destroy me for that.
Like barista-ing.
Yeah, barista-ing. We may as well just keep with a kick then.
Yeah.
But yes, bringing that like reality into it is hard, and some people can't because their reality is something that no one wants to be a part of because they're an angry person or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that is something special that if you have that, you need to put that out there because a lot of people can't. So, you know, it's one of those USP, unique selling points that if you have it, you need to be taking advantage of it. Like those kind of things, you know, and you can't learn it. Yeah.
Just the personality and like, and also like, finding the style that fits you, that fits your personality.
Right.
And like being able to, I mean, sometimes, you just, like you said, you got to leave the record button on. And that for me, like, that's why I got rid of my Red camera.
Should be a t-shirt.
You can't
leave the record button.
Keep recording. That might be creepy. I don't know. You're
I
recording too much.
Yeah. Walk into the
Always be filming. Yeah. But like having a Red and having those file sizes be like terabytes of footage. It's like, I couldn't leave it recording. So that was like, as amazing as that camera is, as much as most people probably have camera envy and they want a Red, I'm like, you probably don't. Yeah. It's probably actually going to really hurt your work in the long run.
Yeah. There's like that balance. Like I said, that's the literal balance between like Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon. It's like the Casey Neistat who pulls out his phone is like, this works. And the Peter McKinnon who vlogs with the 1DX Mark II. Like, that's crazy. Like those two different sides of storytelling and finding a juxtaposition between those is like, it's difficult.
Yeah. But I think you just got to, that's why you just got to keep making it. And like in the beginning, consume a lot of stuff. Yeah. Pick up lots of stuff from everybody. Learn as much as you can from tutorials and videos and other filmmakers. And then you're going to get to a point where you get good enough that you're so confident in your own skills, and you're also so busy with getting freelance work that you don't have as much time anymore to do that.
Yeah.
That's a place you want to get to, where then like that's when you start to distance yourself from everything that you're consuming. You know, you can keep like a pulse on it and see what's going on, but not let it like influence as much what you're doing.
Yeah. That's like, I guess the end goal is to be able to be like, I don't like that job. Like, I'm not going to do it. And then you like go do the jobs that you want. That's like kind of an end goal. And for me, I'm at that point, but not because like, it's just because I don't like my expenses are low. It's not because like I have so many other jobs, but that's like I said, that's the process of me right now, like being in the beginning, which I think is interesting because I'm probably one of the only people, if not the only one on your podcast who isn't like, yeah, I've had my $10,000 project or that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I haven't like totally made it yet. You know what I mean? Like it's still a process. I live with my brothers and we're living downtown Colorado, and it's like, I'm still in the learning process of all that and just like trying to figure it out, you know? And it's, I don't know. I think that's interesting for, I don't know, cause I don't have that like facade of like, I can't fake that I'm successful because I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I'm figuring it out.
Well, I think that's good. And I think most people that have come on this podcast, myself included, don't feel like they've made it. Like you never,
that's probably,
there's actually never a feeling of like, oh wow, I made it.
Yeah. Because I would think the like award-winning Netflix documentary, that to me feels like done. But I guess, yeah, that's the creative process. It's never really done.
Well, like, you know, the feeling doesn't change. Like your day-to-day existence, I think as long as you're a good person and you don't have a big ego, you know, because some people can get an ego and be like, especially in LA, like you definitely have those people. Yeah. And yeah, maybe people give you a little bit more credibility. Doors don't open. Oh, doors open, but you have to knock on them still, right? You still have to like go after stuff and try to meet people and make networking connections. And it certainly helps to have credentials under your belt, but it doesn't change who you are. It doesn't change how you feel. Yeah. It doesn't change. I mean, if anything, you just feel a little bit anxious that you're never going to be able to replicate that, or you're never going to be able to do it again. Yeah,
and you're like, oh, feel that.
Yeah, and then, but you have to let that stuff go.
Yeah,
like I honestly, if I never put out another documentary on Netflix again, I would still live a happy, fulfilled life. You know, that's not where my meaning comes from.
Yeah, and that was something that kind of crossed my mind coming here. Is like, is this a peak? Like what happens after this? And there's this kind of like this thing that I had said in where it was like, if nothing happens, if nothing moves on, if I just keep doing what I'm doing the way that I'm doing it, I was like, I'd be happy with that. Like, I'm happy with the life I'm living. And I'm thankful that I can wake up every day and be like, not grumpy that I have to go work at McDonald's. No offense to anyone working at McDonald's.
Yeah, it's a great
but
place.
like, yeah, like if that's what you're into or whatever, then, you know, that's what you're into. But for me, like, I'm doing what I love doing. And so I don't have this pressure of like, you know, creating something to survive or whatever, that kind of thing. It's just what I love doing. And it happens to be an avenue that I can monetize and make money from. So learning how to do that is just awesome, you know, and to be at that point where, you know, and it helps with the creative process, like lack of pressure. Sometimes I get so excited about a job with a client that I want to do it for free just so I don't have pressure. And that's a weird thing, but like, sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm not going to ask them to like jump off this rock because they're paying me. And it doesn't make any sense. Like that's a weird thought, but I have that sometimes. And so I'm like, I'd rather just shoot this video for free so that I can do whatever I want and like vision that I have for this. And it's just like, it's odd.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I felt the same thing, but I think part of that comes from like maybe starting out with lower budget projects. And when you push into the higher budget projects, you're not motivated to do the project because of money.
Right.
But if the money wasn't there, you wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like the $10,000 project you get, but like you're not thinking about that money. It doesn't feel like when you get to that level, like this is pressure. Like, oh, I have this immense amount of pressure. Like that's so much money.
Right.
Because usually those people don't care. The people that can afford a $10,000 wedding or a $10,000 video, if it's a startup company,
right,
the money is nothing to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for somebody who's paying $400 for a video or $1,000, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you screw it up, like that, they're like gonna be looking at behind the camera as you're filming, like, what are you doing there?
Oh my gosh.
And like, so as you push up, I think that's the hardest thing, to like continue to push up
and
your
you wouldn't
rates.
Expect that. That's weird.
What's that?
You wouldn't expect that as like rates go up, people care less.
Yeah,
it's kind of odd, but it makes sense. Huh?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, yeah, get there. You will.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying.
You will. Like if you keep going, dude, your quality level is already there.
Thank you.
That it's just a matter of time, and if like you just keep getting work,
That's crazy to hear, dude.
You 100% will. It's just no doubt about it. So whether it's the photo side or the film side, like
sorry. I don't know why I got emotional for some reason.
Dude, you're killing it, man. You really are.
It's just something like matters a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
I did not want that to happen. Oh crap! Now I can't be your muscle, dude. Because I cried.
That's it, man. No, I love it, dude.
No, but like that's crazy. Like that's what I'm hoping for, is just to keep doing like what I love doing.
Yeah.
And that's all like. That comes down to like people that support you too, like whether it's, you know, for me, Matt Diavella, or my brother who I live with, who helps me like survive in life. And that's like all those kind of people, my friends that do photo, video stuff and have been encouraging me, my parents, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, it makes you like thankful for it all, but at the same time, like it gives you drive to like do the stuff. It's crazy. I can't believe I just did that.
No, I love it, dude.
Crazy.
I mean, you care about it, man.
Yeah, it matters to me.
And I think you're in an amazing position because you're not like you said, your expenses are low. That means that you don't have to say yes to every project that comes in. So while I think that you should be probably saying yes to most stuff,
right?
Because you have to actually be working, and you have to be like developing your craft and your skill and putting stuff out there consistently. Yeah. And especially the paid work, because you're going to learn so much just about how to communicate with clients, about how to like deliver on deadlines. Yeah. There's like thousands and thousands of things you will learn in the first couple of years from all these interactions. So say yes as much as you can, but you don't have to compromise on your integrity to shoot like maybe something that you don't believe in, or something that like doesn't align with your values. Yeah. Because the money, you're not doing it for the money necessarily.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I'm just thankful that I'm able to do, even at such a low, like with wedding clients. I can say no to you because I don't like your wedding colors. Like if I can't feel inspired about your project, I don't want to do it because it's going to suck for both of us. You know, I'm going to go there and you can feel as a creative, like when you're working and when you're creating. And when I'm creating, like making stuff for YouTube, that's what I like. It's because I can do whatever I want. I'll sit down and like, this is crazy. This hit me the other day. I was editing something. I don't know what, but I was like super into it. Like I was just like zoned in on my laptop. And I was like, I haven't eaten in like so long, and I was so hungry. And so I ordered food like to my house because I was like, I don't want to stop. And I put it in the countertop, and I didn't even eat it. And I was like, I don't want to stop for 3 minutes to go eat this burrito because I'm so into this like right now. And to be able, like, that clicked for me. Like, I want to do projects like this all the time. Yeah. And sometimes that means that you're a YouTube creator and you can do whatever you want. But sometimes it means you get a client who's like, yeah, we want to go have an elopement like 3 miles into the woods. And it's like, like you can feel exactly that like what I want to do. All these ideas just like go crazy in your head, and then you're like, this is an inspired project, this isn't work. Yeah. And I wish for everyone that they can find something in life that makes them feel that way, but I'm very thankful to have found that. Yeah, no, it's amazing that you have, because that's definitely, I think, a problem for a lot of people. A struggle is, and it's a hard question for me even to answer when people ask me like, how do you find your passions? Yeah. And it's like, well, you'll know when you find them. Yeah, but you're never gonna know if you don't get out there and try stuff. That's what kills me, is the people that are like, do you know they have a passion in something, or they don't even know what they're passionate about, and then they go home and like play Fortnite all night, which I play Fortnite, so I like whatever. But I'm just saying, like, they're not out there trying stuff and like working on like either whether it's them or their craft or whatever. Like I don't get that. It's not something that even makes sense to me. Yeah. But maybe that's because I have found it, and if you've never felt that, like, you know when you found it, you just know. And I think if someone's out there like, you don't know you found something, you probably haven't found it. And I happened to find mine because I got competitive with some kid that wanted to make a video against me. And it's like, it's weird stuff, but getting out there and starting doing that, and there's so many people out there that are like, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could make videos like Sam Colder and fly in helicopters without seatbelts and like whatever, that kind of stuff. But in reality, like, they don't really wish that, because if they wanted to, they'd be out there like shooting their random stuff. Like, they'd be out there, you know, simulating or just like running around downtown on a scooter with a camera. Like, you have to go out there and do the stupid stuff and just like learn from it and grind to figure it out. And most of the people don't do that. And the people that see videography and cinematography and photo work as money, those are the people, they don't make it because there's a lot of grind and learning and projects that don't pay. And if you're really into it, it doesn't matter. Like, you just want to do it. So that's something that's like, I think a lot of people miss, you know what I mean? And they see it just as money, and it's so much more than that. You know what I mean? It's wild. Yeah, it's gotta come from a deeper place.
Have there been any roadblocks for you, or like biggest struggles in terms of breaking through? So how long has it been that you did that little competition with your friend? And
a little over a year.
So it's just been about a year that you've been filmmaking.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. It's crazy because honestly, dude, I swear to God, if you saw my shit from 1 year in, you would be like, he's going nowhere.
Really?
Oh my God.
Now I had to see it.
Oh my, I don't know if I have anything online, but like
naturally
it's, well, because I mean, this was pre DSLR days. I was shooting with like a Sony Handycam. Like it was all analog. I've got some, you know what? I could show you. Have you ever heard about Produce Paradise?
No, it sounds weird though.
Okay. I made a parody rap video.
Sounds like
in early college.
Pastry.
It was a rap video.
Close enough. Pastries and rap.
Let me see if actually it shows up. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna play the audio because that's just embarrassing.
That's okay.
And people are gonna miss out that are. But look at this. This is like 3 years, dude. That's my brother. This is 3 years in. Okay, there's an explanation there, but this is 3 years in of me making videos, and this is where I was at. So look, I got 2,000 views on that video.
Really?
Actually, well, no, we ended up getting like 150,000 because we got sued for $7 million for making that video.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So we made that parody rap video. The grocery store AMP. I don't know if you know AMP. Super Fresh. They actually recently went bankrupt.
Oh.
But they got wind of it, and then this was early days of YouTube,
What?
2007, 2008. And they sued us for $7 million. We were on national television. It was like
exposure though. Was it good?
It was like in hindsight, not worth it.
Yeah.
But it was like an amazing experience to be on national television, and like it was definitely like 15 minutes of fame. Our video maybe got 150,000 views, which is like back in those days.
Right.
It's quite a bit.
Back when a million was like impossible to hit.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, a million views was like viral. That meant like the world saw it.
Yeah. That's crazy. Isn't it crazy what people can find from YouTube?
Yeah.
I got fined from the National Park Service for flying my drone in the sand dunes of Colorado.
Did you get fined after shooting it?
Yeah.
I didn't know they could do that.
Well, here's this guy on Instagram was mad at me for I have no idea why. So he turned me into them, sent like photos of my photos, screenshots of or screen videos of my videos to the National Park Service, and then they fined me for flying the drone and camping outside the designated area, which I didn't do. But for some reason they think I did. I don't know why.
What's the fine look like on something like that?
It can be anywhere between like they'd scare you. They're like it can be from $200 to $7,000 or 6 months in jail. But mine was like it's $200 total with like the camping fee. So it's not bad. And I'm low key. I'm kind of like I paid for the footage, I guess. Like now I can use it, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I did it in Hawaii, like in a state park, and I'm sure they could find that. And
yeah,
like, it happened to be that the government shut down, so there was nobody there. But they did a couple patrols, and you're just like scared, like nervous.
It is freaky.
Because I'm like, I'm gonna pop this up real quick because there's tourists everywhere. I'm gonna pop it up real quick and get my shot, and then come back down. And then get in the car, Natalie. We're going.
Dude, it's crazy. That sucks. It's so regulated like that, but it makes sense too.
It makes sense because you don't want like 100 drones flying around and ruining people's times.
Well, now
but for like you look at where you were shooting, there's nobody out there.
Yeah,
what's the point?
It was like 5 a.m. Yeah, there was no one out there. And the thing that's crazy is like when you think about it, the most beautiful places that we have are the places you can't fly a drone unless you're like Warner Brothers or something. I don't even know.
You got to get permits.
Like I've heard they're crazy to do. But and now the drones are so consumer level and people are just like popping them out left and right, and then. You know, it would suck if there was just a ton. So I get the regulation, but there's got to be, I don't know, maybe over time it'll get better. But
in LA, I think it's pretty lax. I haven't really explored it too much just because I'm like a little bit scared with the helicopters and everything.
Right.
But apparently, like, if you're not doing it for a professional project and like, I don't get paid for my YouTube videos. Like, I could just shoot a bunch of drone footage in downtown LA, like over top of traffic and everything.
Really?
I don't know, maybe.
See, now I'm like, maybe I'll go down there.
See, I think so, but like, you look it up. I don't want to be the one that gets you thrown in jail.
Matt told me that I could do this. He had a Netflix documentary.
I think he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, but I think technically you're not allowed to shoot it over top of people, right?
Yeah, I think. You're right.
So then that's like the weird thing with like if you're shooting over top of traffic. But like, I see stuff all the time of people shooting. Like, in downtown LA or on top of cars or whatever.
Yeah,
it's a weird new world. And I think we're just trying to figure out the drone thing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why, like, I came here and I flew mine this morning over at the place I told you I was at. And some really cool footage, but I'm, like, kind of wondering, like, is someone just watching my channel? Like, waiting for the next one that they're like, that's technically illegal because
Yeah, you're gonna be paranoid because I can't believe somebody called
I
you
can't
out
either.
on
Can
that.
you believe that through Instagram? I was like, dang, they must really have it out for me. I don't know why.
How do they find you? Like, how do they find your email
This
online
is
or
the
something?
crazy thing. So when I came back to Colorado, I was in Florida for 3 years in school, and I came back to Colorado, and this is when I went like boots to the ground to start working. So I reached out to tons of photographers, videographers in the area, and I built a group on Instagram of like local creatives whose work I liked. He was one that I had invited to be a part of it, and then somehow he ended up like turning me in and told me about it and showed me everything that he sent them. And then like I was like, dude, like what the heck? And he was like, it's okay, don't worry, they probably won't even care.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I was like, why are you trying to like console me after like throwing me under the bus? It was weird, but I was like, oh, whatever. Like someone like that just sucks to be in that position, honestly, that you feel like you have to do that to someone or whatever.
Right. I mean, you're not going to get very far, I don't think, with that kind of mentality and that attitude.
Yeah.
To like, because dude, we're all just trying to make it by, and we're not. I understand if you're going to be doing something that's dangerous, putting other people's lives at risk or whatever, but like, come on, shooting in a national park when there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I can't believe that like that was my first introduction to like creatives being like, my work is better than your work. Like I never saw it that way. I didn't know that was out there for a long time, but some people are very competitive about it. And I think, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's most of it is usually just a quiet competitiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, even from us, like we're talking about looking at other people's stuff, but like you don't hate that person. If
No,
you met that person, you'd be like, you're amazing.
Yeah, it's in,
you don't
in
like
there,
try to
like
fucking
it's a battle from them to you, like inside your head that's like, I have to learn, not a like I'm gonna take them down. Like it's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird. You can't. That was a lesson early on that I learned too. Was that like even just doing weddings and having friends that also did weddings was that this is not competition.
Yeah,
there's plenty of work out there.
Yeah.
There's plenty. It's not like there's a limited amount of pie there for weddings in the Philadelphia area. There's tons and tons of people.
Yeah,
there's plenty enough for everybody to get enough work.
Yeah, and that's definitely a thing. Like in a sport, yes, one team wins and one team loses, but in creative, it's just different. And I like to shoot this with my 16 mil, and you prefer 70 to 200, like whatever, like stuff like that. Like that's what I think is cool. Is there shouldn't be a competitive, nature in that because it's called creative work. Like you do what's in your head, but there is also a sense of competitiveness that is really healthy that I found early on with a friend, Jared Moore, who is one of my photographer friends, and we just pushed each other back and forth when we were in college, and huge growth from that just because we were like, we'd go out and every time we'd shoot together, we had this thing where we'd say like, you got the shot or I got the shot, which was the one that was like, if I had thought of that, and it wasn't ever like I'm better, you're better, but it was like a pushing, like that's the one that of the whole trip, this is the best shot we have, and it was like he got it or I got it, and it was like it was healthy because you're starting to see from another person's perspective, and he had angles that he always shot and I had angles that I always shot, and so then we'd like try and switch that up, and you just learn a lot from it. But yeah, there's a healthy competitiveness, and then there's like the really unhealthy like I hate you competitiveness that happens,
Yeah, that does happen. I like how it's like consolidated, that those kind of projects where you kind of push each other, but then you're also like, okay, we're going to do this video over this period of time. Yeah. Where I think it gets you to push yourself to like see, okay, how can we make a film in a weekend? Like how quickly can we put everything together and be able to tell a story? Yeah. Because I think when you start to do that, you start to learn maybe where you're wasting time. Where if you had 2 weeks to do this project, like I've done a few that were overnight projects. I used to do a lot of work for Reebok, and I would get the footage. Like I got paid quite a bit for it because I wouldn't have done this otherwise. Right. And I would not do that now because I think sleep is very important. But I would get a project at 12 a.m. That's when I started, and I would work. The project was due at 8 a.m. So over the course of 8 hours, I would chop together a video, 3 cameras, basketball event, interviews, everything, and had to just fire through it. Just like, but like I'm not scrolling through every piece of B-roll that there is. Right. I'm finding good enough B-roll, good enough B-roll, good enough B-roll, good enough B-roll.
Dang, that's
like,
crazy.
Good enough interviews. And this is after years and years of doing it. And then just honestly, like the quality of work that I was able to put out was like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a video I spent 3 weeks on and a video that I edited over the course of 8 hours.
Dang, that's crazy.
So I think that was a lesson for me for sure, to be like, well, maybe I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways. Yeah. And maybe that actually holds me back from doing as much as I want to do and getting the work done.
And that's another thing that you have to find a balance in, because like sometimes I'll go out and shoot and just be like every angle, every possible angle of this location. And then I was like, dude, I used like 3 clips from that location and I've shot like 40 videos from it. And even of those like 10-second clips, I've used like 0.5 seconds slowed down to a second and a half. Like that's crazy that I use this much footage from like 30 gigs of footage. It's wild. And so that's another thing for me that actually kind of plays into that minimalist idea of like, even with filming, like not filming too much, but also filming that extra stuff. And that's like, that balance is hard to find. It's a hard balance to find.
Yeah, and I think that definitely early on, and I mean, so even to this day, I think you get a better eye for it, and like, oh, this is gonna be crap. I'm not even gonna shoot the shot.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm definitely done. I definitely know I have enough footage to make a video.
That's true.
But I think early on, it is shoot as much as you can. It's like chiseling marble. It's like you want
a big slab.
Go back to marble.
Nice table.
And then, but it's like, it is taking as much as you can, and then the curation process to be able to find the best clips. And I think when you shoot and edit your own stuff, when you're part of the entire process, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
Like editing, that was one of the difficulties of that one project with Reebok, is like, I'm looking at footage I did not shoot.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I've had like 1 or 2 projects that I've had to edit other people's, and it's like, do I go through everything first? Because when you shoot it, you know what you have, and like, oh, I'll lead this shot into this one, or whatever kind of stuff. But when you don't shoot it, I can't even imagine that, because the creative process is not the edit. It's not only the edit anyways. It's like the location, the movements, the style of shoot, the lens, the settings, like all of that plays together, and that's what makes like great films, in my opinion. It's like all of the culmination, the curation of everything in one little like thing. My sound effects are going to destroy you. Like,
I actually love the sound effects. Like this is like YouTube videos. Like you are a walking YouTube video.
Oh my gosh!
In the best way possible. The
YouTube
sound effects I think help a lot. I don't think I was going to actually add them in. But now I feel like I don't even need to.
I'll just be like sound effects box. I'll just need like a buttons, like Darth Vader buttons.
You should actually do that. Like they have. I'm gonna do that for the podcast soon, where I just have different cues for things, whether it's like questions that people ask.
Yeah.
And you just press a button.
There you go.
Yeah. I think you could. That would be cool.
Yeah, it'd either be cool or horrible.
Pretty horrible.
Probably.
People probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah. It's worth a shot though. You never know until you try it, right? Yeah. It's a learning process.
Cool. Anything that you wanted to talk about on this podcast before we head into the final round?
I guess just like, there's a learning process, and it's super hard not to compare yourself to other people. But I think for creatives and people that are working on it, like, you should probably check and make sure this is what you love doing, because it's not always like paying really well, or you know what I mean? I think it'd be hard to do like for money, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of people out there or people that message me even, that are like, like, how do you do this kind of stuff, or whatever, and I want to do that, and then but they never go out and shoot, like they never do it. And I think like that's the thing. If you're gonna do it, like, you go out and put in the work. And sometimes that means like just walking around downtown with your camera, and you come back with nothing, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I guess it just not to be discouraged, because people like Sam Colder, they had a sucky start. I was watching some of his videos. You know how you talked about like your old stuff, I told you that like some videos I avoid watching because I'm gonna get like I just want to stop making videos. One time I went back through all of Sam Colder, someone who I like his style. Who doesn't? But anyways, I went back through all of his stuff, and I'm looking at like 2012, and I was like, this is horrible. It's hilarious.
Makes you feel great, doesn't
it?
it?
It was like, oh my gosh, thank God that people don't start like this.
Yeah, imagine that.
Oh my gosh.
That's actually, I think that's the most encouraging thing, and that's like what gets people to start putting stuff out there and start making stuff, because you're like, it's not about this video as much as like you're actually tricking yourself, because you do still think, oh my God, this video is the most important upload I've ever made.
Yeah.
But you just put it out there, keep going. That helped me with my podcast, looking back at Joe Rogan's early stuff, because Joe Rogan's somebody who I admire, and just a brilliant podcaster and like creator. You look at his old stuff, he was doing live streams, and they weren't even like, there was no structure or conversation. Like, it was like, are we live? Oh, cool. There's like 30 people here. Yeah. And it's just like this like jittery looking piece of crap. And it's just like, now he's over 1,000, 1,100 episodes in.
Yeah.
Because he just stuck through it over the years. Yeah, and look at where he's one of the biggest podcaster in the world.
Yeah.
Not that we're all trying to get to that place.
Right.
But we're trying to get good.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to make a living doing the things that we love.
Yeah, and that's really all it comes down to. It's not a matter of like making money, or I want to jump off cliffs into water. Like, it's not a matter of that, but being able to like, if that's what you love to do, then yeah, go do it. But if you like, shaving wood with your, sandpaper or whatever, go do that. Like, I think there's such this stigma of like, this is a cool person, cool people do this. But it's like, I think that sucks that someone who's into like math. I'm just gonna pick math because that's stereotypical. If you're into math, that's not cool. Like, I think that's horrible that someone that can be incredible at that stuff can sit down and be like, watch someone else who can, take a video of themselves jumping off a cliff. The most useless skill in the world. Like, maybe under, like, the world is ending and maybe you have to speed jump a cliff. Like, maybe in that case, you still learn how to do a backflip. Like, the useless people, I was thinking about today, driving around LA, like, seeing all this expensive cars. And I was like, these are the people that, like some of them anyways, they don't have a skill. Like, they just, like, do the dumbest crap and everyone thinks it's awesome. Like, actors, they're not actually Thor. Like, they're acting. Like, and that hit me today. They're like, there's people out there that are like crazy mathematicians. Yeah, they make money and all that kind of stuff. But they're not like, that sucks when you're young. Like, my age, people like that, they're making, $12 an hour as an intern somewhere. And they're looking at someone else that's like, I'm standing on this majestic cliff. And it's like, there's a stigma that that's cool and this isn't. I think that is horrible. Because I think, personally, because I suck at math, that math is awesome. If you can do it. But, like, man, it's crazy.
Well, there is like it's kind of like pervasive. And we both do it. It's like the beautiful Instagram shots or the photos of us on. We do the stuff with us on cliffs.
Yeah.
But that's not everything.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a part of it. And like, it's interesting and like you can share your skills. But I think it's like, at the end of the day, you can create a beautiful photo or a beautiful video. But like, is there other value that you can add? Is there something else you can bring to the table? Can you help somebody like get through a roadblock or help them get clients or whatever? What other kind of value can we add to people besides just sharing beautiful photos and video? Like, that's great. That's a great starting point. Yeah. And like some people, that's where they make their entire living is just creating beautiful things. Yeah. And that's cool. But I think that there's potential to dig a little bit deeper there.
Yeah. And that's something that for me as someone who's just starting out, I don't want to get to that point where I'm not ever putting effort into other people. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that's cool about this is because that's a direct, like, thought process of what I want to be bringing out to people, like bringing value to other people's lives and encouraging them. And sometimes it's hard because people show you their work and it honestly isn't good, and it's like, but you want to encourage them. You don't want to especially be the one that like shut them down when they could have been something amazing. You know what I mean? But like, that's something that I noticed, like that video, the email that you sent me like a couple months ago, like that meant a lot to me. And that's something that, who knows, I might have stopped had that not happened. I might have continued, but knowing that maybe one day I can do that for someone is a crazy thought, to know that you have the power of motivation, whether it's because you're cool or because you're not, or any of that kind of stuff. And people either abuse that or don't use it when they have it. And it's like, it's a crazy thing that I think people don't think about, you know what I mean? Or they have this audience and instead all they do is swim in a river. Like, I don't know why these like ideas are coming to my head. I'm like imagining films that I've seen of like,
I think that the key though is don't kill somebody's dream. That's what I said recently, was like, don't kill somebody's dream, let it die of natural causes. Like, because like, don't be the one to kill it. Yeah. If it doesn't work out,
it won't.
Let it take its course.
Yeah.
And like, if they're asking for truly constructive feedback and criticism, give it to them. Yeah. But don't discourage them and say this is shit. Like, be like, there's a lot of potential here. Like, did you love it? Did you really enjoy making it? Awesome. Keep making it.
Yeah.
Just because it's not good now doesn't mean you're not going to get good at it eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a hard thing to do in the creatives, especially because you're seeing good work and you sometimes think like, this isn't my work. Like, I don't make good work. And it's a learning process. But if you love it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think it boils down to that.
Quick questions?
Yeah, I didn't know that was
quick answers.
Okay, good. I suck at that. Quick answers would make the worst.
I know. Quick. Yeah, I know. I would be really bad at it too. This is just a segment that I started.
Okay. No, that's good.
Early on, and then I got rid of it, and I brought it back.
Dude, me and my friend used to have a podcast, and we had a rapid fire questions thing. I had to speed answer. Fun. It was so bad.
Do you do podcasting anymore, or you just kind of play around with it a little bit?
He moved to San Diego. And so we loved doing it. We did it because it was fun. We had a small audience, but it was fun. But we had his rapid fire questions, and he'd be like, "What do you love in life?" And I'd just be like, "Zucchini." Like the most like stupid things. Like, my head's like preparing, and it's like I don't know. Yeah. It's so bad.
Sometimes it's like,
I'll think it through.
Sometimes we don't always have to add value if it's just fun. If you're just having a good time.
Yeah, it's value in a different area.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What universal skill do you think is the most important for creators to learn? Zucchini.
For real, dude.
You blew it.
Yeah, dang it. The universal skill, I'd say, to just be content with where you are, yet still have the motivation to push forward.
That was great, man.
Dang it.
What's the simplest advice that's the most important to follow?
Just start.
See, now you're doing them quick.
Dude.
I told you they're not.
Okay,
I actually like it. I feel like the quick
go.
answers is going good.
So far.
How do you get through doubt?
How do you get through doubt? I think that comes down to having the right people supporting you. Doubt is going to happen no matter what. And if you surround yourself with people that aren't going to push you to what they know is best for you, then those are that's what your friends are for, to pick you up when you're in those situations. So I think picking the right friends, that's how you overcome doubt. The right people that are around you. I think that's how you do it.
And 2 more questions. I'm looking for advice on how I should get The Rock on my podcast. And I feel like if I'm going to ask anybody,
all right,
it's going to be Sterling.
Oh, man. Dude, the jingle competition, good idea.
Thank you. You like that?
Yeah, I do like that. I can't believe it. There's so many people that are just like, dude, I'm going to put in this work and do that. That's awesome.
So talented. And
Yeah.
like listening to some of them, especially some of the 4 finalists, especially with noise canceling headphones, you're like, they got background vocals and they've got layers in these tracks. They
That's
spent
crazy.
hours and hours on them.
And it's crazy to think that people do that kind of stuff for a jingle competition for a chance to
For a chance.
Yeah, chance to be a part of something that's supposed to be part of something bigger. Like what? That's wild.
Honestly, to be at that point where people submit that, to be at a point where you even want to come on my podcast is crazy. Last year, I started the podcast a year and a half ago, and nobody listened to it, nobody watched it. So it's super humbling and really cool.
Yeah.
But we do need to get The Rock on the podcast.
Dude, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such
that's
such a big one. I think you're solid where you live. I think it's set that you have since it's almost your vibe on YouTube. Everyone knows get The Rock on Matt's podcast. It's a thing. Yeah. I think that's key. I think it's gonna happen. I think you're already doing the right thing. It's a matter of time.
But anyway, we got Sterling on Matt's podcast.
Yeah, so we're halfway there.
Next step, we get The Rock. And to wrap up here, where should we send people?
Oh, for my work?
For your work? Where should we send them?
You can go to YouTube. That'd be awesome because I'm working on it, man. YouTube would be great. It's just my name, Sterling Grinnell, and then I post most of my work on Instagram, a lot of the photo work that I do. So yeah, Instagram is just at Sterling Grinnell. Everything's just my name, even my website, sterlinggrinnell.com.
Okay, so I'll leave a link to the YouTube channel in the description of this audio podcast, as well as in the YouTube channel. Can you spell it? I want to make it real clear. I want people to go there.
Sterling, Sterling, like the silver, and then Grinnell, which is Grinnell.
Great. So subscribe, watch the videos. Cool, man.
It's good to make you coffee.
It was great to drink the coffee.
Was it actually good, or were you I have to be kind because he's here?
No, this is better coffee than I can make.
I'll take it.
It's killer coffee.
I'll take that.
Cool. Thanks for doing the show.
Dude, thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that was Sterling Grinnell. Hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I did making it. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/MattDiavella. It's a new thing that I've started. I've got a secret AMA and a secret vlog, giving you access to ideas, thoughts that I do not share anywhere else. Get a look behind the scenes at the podcast, how I make things, what equipment I use, lots and lots of great advice shared on there. So if you want to contribute to the show, if you want to keep this podcast advertisement and sponsor free, you can help. I'm looking to get 5%, maybe 10. No, 5 would be fine. If I could get 5% of you guys to contribute, that'd be amazing. And of course, if you do not have the money to contribute right now, if you are yourself starting something from the ground up, there's no pressure. No pressure to contribute. I want you to be successful, and I want you to be able to chase after projects and ideas and dreams that you really believe in. So I understand if you are just getting started. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.